Like playing a video game here.
Good day, friends. Welcome back to this week's video in the Ground Up ADU build series.
We're moving along. You can see that we're framing the gable end first on the big house on the 2-2 down there, and then we frame the easy walls on this single 1-1, and then we're going to stand up the big front end balloon gable wall. We're going to do that a little bit safer than the last time we raised it. We're going to use some machinery and some strapping as opposed to 5 guys just muscling it up. We're going to try to work smarter and safer on this build. Today we have Ashland Electric out here today. They own the electrical utility in our town. So we've got the linemen and the foremen out here today, and they're pulling our 200 amp services and our 125 amp services from the meter vault under the sidewalk where we already laid the conduit into our meter bases. They're gonna get us hooked up, they're gonna put meters in, and hopefully by the end of today, we're gonna have power down to our buildings. We still have to put up a temporary pole for power. Luckily, we still own the front house here and we're able to pull energy off of that to build on. But a huge step in infill development is actually getting the power to your building.
Here's an interesting little detail I'm gonna talk about. This is our sewer line. This is a PVC 3034 sewer line that goes all the way out to the road and ties into the main. People ask me from time to time, how do you get the sewer line in or out of your building? And I'll show you. This is a sleeve. This is inside of our footing stem wall. So if you look down this way, you can see this is 8 inches wide. We've got our rebar. These panels are stacked on the footing. And then down in the bottom of the footing, we have a 4-inch sleeve, and then we have a paint can. This is an empty paint can. It's 8 inches. And what's gonna happen is when we pull these panels apart after we're poured, we're gonna have a nice big hole right through the bottom of the stem wall where we can shoot our sewer line out and into the lateral that goes out to the main.
Now we're backfilling our perforated foundation drain with this washed rock. This is a 3/4 minus washed stone, and it's going to be a great filter for our foundation drain. I went rounds with the inspector about needing this because of the well-draining soil that we're building on. It's like a rocky, decomposed granite, and they still wanted it, so sometimes it's easier to just do what they ask instead of arguing.
Progress. We're taking shape over here. We have our floors framed in on these front 2 units, and then we have walls and ridge beams and roofs going up. It's super hot out today. This whole week it's been over 100 degrees, and it's been this constant battle of how do we get work done and how do we keep people alive. So the crews have been working kind of like a 6 a.m. to 1:30 or 2 shift. I've been coming in the afternoon when everybody's gone and doing my excavation. You hear me talk about this often. We look for great locations. We want good infrastructure, good access, and flat lots. And I can't help but just harp on that right now as we're dealing with a bunch of grade on these back 2 units. It's so much more work. There's so much more excavation, so much more backfill. Everything's on an angle. In these tight infill spaces, if you can focus on only building on flat lots, you're gonna save so much time and money. It's gonna be nice to have this big deck overlooking this sloped area, but it's hard to build on. I'd say it takes twice as long and almost twice as much money to build on a slope as it does on a flat lot. Pat and Rocky are setting up our forms for the porch on this barn cabin ADU, and you can see right down here we've got this big 30-inch drop. We're gonna build a retaining wall to hold that earth up, and then we're gonna put a sidewalk in around to the back of the storage unit. This is an 8-inch wall, slanted, built on an angle, so it'll help retain this little bit of earth. Down here on the other side of our tree protection zone is the front of this unit that's gonna look out at Ashland Creek and Ashland Creek Park. Sean Roberts came in to help us out on this deck. We're gonna do a 30 by 16 TimberTech deck, and around the front, it's gonna be looking out over this really cool area. It's gonna have a nice metal railing. Chris is over here bringing in rock. We're gonna do a monolithic slab pour here, and we do that by filling in most of the area with crushed rock, and then we'll grade it out and pour concrete across it.
This is the front porch for our barn cabin unit. Over on this side, we're framing. We've got roof sheathing going on. There's nowhere for anybody to park. Everybody's screaming at me. Infill housing is hard. It's expensive. Everything's heavy, sharp. People are grouchy. It's not room to put people or material
or even some of the service trucks. The porta potties overflowing, like everything that could possibly be going wrong today is, and that's just normal. Build failure into your plan. Construction is hard. Got Jerry running equipment up here. Dio's up top with proper fall protection, getting this roof sheathed. We use 5/8 plywood sheathing. Different opinions in the building industry right now about the best product. A lot of people are using a 5/8 ordinated strand board. We like the plywood. It just seems to hold nails so much better. It's only a little bit more expensive these days. It's a CDX ply, and then on the edges, we use a BC plywood. And the reason for that is so it will take paint. You can see up here in these exposed eaves, we use a lot nicer material. That stuff's probably about $60 a sheet for 5/8, and the CDX that we use out in the field is well, probably about half that, maybe $35 or $40 a sheet. We get a discount because we buy a lot of bulk. And then up top there, they're gonna snap a line and they're gonna cut for our ventilated ridge. Down here below, we have this lower unit all just about closed up. We're gonna get paper on the roof, have the plumbers come out and do top out, and then we'll get the shingles on this hopefully next week. It's really cool to get a job done and not have any rain. I got a lot of comments on a last video we put up about people saying that the roof sheathing was poorly installed, and you can see all the sunlight pouring through. That gap is actually smaller than it looks because it's dark in this building and it's sunny outside. It looks like quite the gap, but really what we're doing is we're following the American Plywood Association recommendations for 1/8 inch gapping everywhere on our sheathing. That's not just for roof sheathing, that's for floor sheathing, and usually for wall sheathing as well. There's always a little stamp on your product, and if you read that stamp, it will tell you how it should be installed. We've got Pete and Santos down here somewhere. This big cool front deck that Sean's been working on. We have it all covered up with OSB so the sun doesn't twist up the rafters. Nice tight house wrap job. This is an air barrier as well as a vapor barrier. And we've got to make sure we button this house up nice and tight. Just throwing some siding up today, and Randy from Ashland Lumber just showed up with our custom window order. These are black Milgard style line windows. They're middle of the road, just one step above builder grade, and we pay about 40% more to have color in the dye. These are black inside and out. They're gonna give a nice rich look. Some people buy their windows off the shelf at a box store for common sizes. And what we found over the years is it's not any cheaper, and all the time and effort it is to go pick them up. And then if you ever have any problems, it's like a nightmare to get any warranty work done. Whereas you go with a supplier that's local to you. These Milgard windows are made in Oregon. If we have any issue at all, we can get a factory rep down to the job to make a replacement or replace a handle or send us a screen that didn't show up or was torn in transit. That's what we do with windows. We always custom order. We always have them delivered, and we actually pay less money than we would if we were buying from a big box store. If you enjoyed this video, the best thank you you can give a YouTube creator is a like and a subscribe. Thanks for your time, folks.